you smell what the rock.
Oh, recording live from two and a half locations. This is Past the Rock. I am
Past
Patrick,
the rock.
and as always, I am joined by the great Caesar, aka LCs.
What it do, y'all? It's your boy LC's coming to mourn live from his bedroom. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that later, though.
Yeah, very shortly, honestly. And then also at some point we may get a special guest hopping in. We'll see how all that goes. But for now, we'll get started. Obviously, I'm in a different location. We're just kind of hoping this plays out well because I'm in a weird internet spot.
Not your usual recording
Not
setup
usual
either.
recording studio. Yeah, it looks like I'm in a cabin, so I'll take that. That looks nice. Uh-oh. Early edition.
Oh shit!
Whoa, this thing is on.
Live from California. It is Jacob, aka
So-
Nice. How's that feedback and audio?
There's a little
Right
bit
on.
there. I can kind of hear myself coming through your car speakers or something.
I can't hear myself from your side at all, so this is perfect for me.
All right, that's beautiful. I also write a little cholo. Well, hello, boys.
Ooh, that's loud.
Ooh, what it do, Becky? How's LA treating you?
It's keeping me occupied in this position more often than I have been in a long time. But it's very nice. Job is fine. I'll also be like kind of avoiding this kind of bullshit because I would count being in a bank very similar to being at a restaurant. You know, there is a hours of operation for the general public and an hours of operation for the people that work there. So I'm in training, so my life is 9 to 5, but it will not stay that way. So had to take advantage of it. And I'll give the people a shot here. Well, how easy is it to flip? That's the hard part, is I don't know how to work technology. All of my favorite friends. This is California, as you should know it. I'll roll the windows down so it's better. I've been looking at the back of this one for a while. That's fun.
Well, I guess while we got you here, we'll at least get your first Fight Club take, since we still need the tiebreaker from last week, which was
one of these is easy.
Brian Schottenheimer and somebody versus Dan Quinn and Marcus Mariota.
Oh yeah, Dan. Yeah, it was
Howell.
Brian Schottenheimer and
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell versus Marcus Mariota and Dan Quinn.
I see. Yeah, no, that was easy. We have Sam Howell as the backup. All I really have to say and wonder for that is what the fuck happened to, is it Milton or Melton? I've already forgotten.
Joe Milton. So Becky, just so you know,
Okay.
it's not always going to be the second string QB. It's sometimes just going to be who's the funniest QB to throw in there. That's a backup.
Yeah. Well, I think I could use Big Arm eventually, but Sam Howell's fine for me because it doesn't matter. Caesar, the question I'm asking you is, where's the Super Bowl this year?
Shit. Now that's a great question. I don't remember. LA?
It is in Los Angeles. Where am I at?
You're somewhere
Close.
outside of LA.
Close to LA.
Well, I'm in LA. I'm not I don't think we're in technical city limits because I get a different police department, and that's a great thing. But I am basically up LA's ass. Well, my point is, why would I pick against the Dallas Cowboys? They're a team of destiny, and the destiny is for them to bring themselves to me here in Los Angeles and win a championship for the first time in what feels like eternity.
So you also want them to bring home the Fight Club, right? Because that might be arguably more important.
Correct. I'm talking New York Knicks comeback. We want all of it. In-season tournament, I want every championship this year.
All right. See, I knew he would see the light on this one.
Disgusting. I had Marcus.
I know there's no
Mariota.
real logic there, so I can even. Yeah. No, I don't want to even like waste time with trying to justify it. I'm just gonna say it's mine and claim it. Like that's what Cowboys culture is supposed to be anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he has
Two-
a point here.
Too bad the World Cup doesn't work that way, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
Mariota.
The World Cup is
single-handedly-
kind of fun, but Yeah, go ahead.
the World Cup is in your
You know,
neck of the
it's-
woods now. That's right. Oh, it would have been here too, but regardless.
Are there any more games in
yeah,
Dallas?
well,
Or-
really more up in my neck of the woods.
There is. One,
I don't know
there's
where
like
any
one
of the
more
rest
game
of
in
the games
Dallas.
are.
I know. Yeah, I know the one we
I've
would have
watched
been playing
next
in
to
was
nothing.
LA.
And you know what, Bethke?
Oh,
That's
okay,
totally
so we
fine.
have-
But
Belgium and Spain, I guess.
yeah,
Oh my God! So Mexico and U.S. would have played here.
No, because we
Wasn't
wouldn't
that the
have played-
bracket?
No,
no.
Mexico's on the other side
I
of the
thought
bracket.
England. Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah, no.
damn.
If the
Talk
U.S.
about-
were
that
to play
would've been
Mexico, that would have
insane.
been in Jersey.
If you
believe.
wanted to, Bethke, you could take off like
Oh.
a couple of decibels of your voice. Your headphones are picking you up really well.
Oh, okay, hell yeah. I'm also screaming over this, so my fault.
No, you're good. Just
All
yeah.
right. We have
It's
that
like it sounds good, and then randomly gets super hot when you're a little excited.
Also, well, I don't want to admit to anything, but you get off work, you got to get in a headspace to drive.
Understandable. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what your plan was here, but if you wanted to, you could give us both of your fights this week. Now,
Yeah, dude, we're gonna squeeze it in. I'm working on the finite time when you drive 2 hours a day for the most part. Yeah, just set them up for me though, because I don't know what.
yeah, C's, if you wouldn't
Just
mind.
intro it for me, and then I'll be able to do it.
All right. I got this. Listen, so we're doing two fights today. The first fight, I believe that I said, was going to be an NFC fight. So you have the Philadelphia Eagles, right, represented by Nick Sirianni, everyone's favorite Italian, and then you also have as his tag team partner, I think I wrote down Andy Dalton is his tag team partner in this fight. As he is technically a backup for the Eagles as of right now. All right, and then we have the New York Giants with Harbaugh and famous Jameis. So that is our first fight.
I heard Harbaugh. I remember Harbaugh.
So that is currently as far as the structure is concerned. Most of these fights are taking place in the stadium at halftime, at least in the first round.
Yeah, they're just duking it out. All like, I don't know the last time we've had this tunnel brawl because they just talk shit now. But I get what you mean. But who's the Giants you picked?
Oh, it's Harbaugh and it's John Harbaugh, and then the backup quarterback for the Giants is technically Jameis Winston. So,
oh fuck yeah! So okay, that one's easy. Okay, that one's really easy. Yeah, I mean, Jameis is probably decent and like barrel chested.
oh my god, I don't know if you can see that image, but that's good. Oh shit! Did we lose Becky?
I think we might have. Maybe throwing the image up killed him.
Oh no!
Well,
Becky's gone.
it says he's
connected,
yeah.
sort of, but we can't see or hear him.
We'll pop him out for now and see what happens.
All right. So until we can get Becky back in here, let's get this. Let's get some more information for the audience. All right. So in the 1 seed versus the 4 seed, the winner of the NFC East this past season, going into this season, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to be represented by Andy Dalton, who was traded for earlier in the year or earlier in this offseason. And then Jameis Winston, who is still under contract for the New York Giants. He may still be there. He may not be. But, yeah. And then in our other matchup, we're going to have the Panthers. And that one is, Fuckface McGee. God, why did I not write down his fucking name? Panthers head coach. What's his name? Canales. Dave Canales. And his tag team partner is going to be Kenny Pickett.
1 second.
Everybody's,
I have to do these all individually.
Oh, that's totally fine. And then we have
look at this guy.
yeah, he looks like he can't take a punch. But even better than that, sir, we also have on the Saints, Kellen Moore. Look at that man. He has no chin now.
To be fair, I didn't try very hard, but it's tough to find a picture where he doesn't look exactly like this, no matter what he's wearing.
And then his backup for this season, it was hard because it was like, do I want to pick Spencer Rattler or Zach Wilson? But again, I'm going with what I think might be the funniest matchups in this one. And Zach Wilson getting into a fight against Kenny Pickett.
I guess I lost my Zach Wilson picture that I thought I saved.
Well, for those of you who don't know what he looks like, short, blonde hair, blue-eyed, looks like he's still 14, 15 years old, Mormon kid. Boom. You probably already perfectly predicted exactly what he looks like. I think. And for all those wondering, what are the scenarios? Well, these first round scenarios, we're going to keep it nice and tame. It's all going to be tussles in the tunnel. And then as we go along through the tournament, it's going to get a little bit more crazy, a little bit more wacky. We're going to save the good stuff for as long as we can.
All right. I will deliver Bethke's NFC East result, at least. Not his. I don't have the full breakdown of what he was going to do, but or say about it. But in the fight between Harbaugh with Jameis and Sirianni with Dalton, he's taken John Harbaugh because both him and Jameis are barrel-chested, and that's the critical factor.
That is good. That is good. Okay. So he's taking famous Jameis and Harbaugh. That's time for me to get this thing going. Unless, Patrick, you wanna bat second?
Yeah, I might as well. So look, I don't know that anyone in either of these in this fight is gonna be in it for the long haul. They could be, but I'm not expecting either of these groupings to make it the furthest. I think this one will be more of a clean fight than the last one I did, more of a straight up. I don't think John Harbaugh's pulling any like Dan Quinn style sneaky moves. John Harbaugh is just a go get him guy, and he's gonna go get him. Now the problem that he's gonna have is, are we getting interception Jameis or touchdown Jameis in this fight? But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I don't really think it matters because Andy Dalton's old ass is going to be entirely useless here. Nick Sirianni, he's just kind of a dude, so I think Harbaugh overtakes him pretty easily, and I think Jameis Winston has no problem keeping Andy Dalton away from causing any problems for Harbaugh. And I think it's pretty just a straightforward Giants victory, just because Andy Dalton and Nick Sirianni are both so goofy.
All right, so that's that. There you go, audience. You hear that? Now it's time for you to hear what I got to say about this one. And as always, I like to go deep and elaborate on the scenario. So I want
to go deep.
Yeah, oh yeah, love to go deep. Anyway, now audience, I hope you're seated for this one. All right. Picture, if you will. Actually, you don't really have to picture this because it's more likely to happen than not. It's 35-0 at halftime. Eagles are up. And they decide, you know what? Jalen Hurts, we're good. We're just gonna park the bus. We're gonna go get Andy Dalton. So Andy Dalton is getting ready on the sidelines. He's gonna do a kneel down to send the game into halftime. John Harbaugh is livid. He is livid with his team. Cannot believe that they are losing 35-0. He forgot that he's on the Giants and not the Ravens. Old age starting to mess with his mind just a little bit. And, the problem is he's also really crazy. Have you ever seen the Harbaugh brothers? They have this crazed look in their eye. Now, it's more with Jim than with John, but John has it from time to time. Except his crazy manifests itself in shooting his team in the foot, if you will. So, John Harbaugh is deciding, or rather, he's plotting on how he can get his team back in this. And then he just snaps. Something in his mind snaps. And he's like, I gotta do something crazy. I have to do something extreme. This team can't win without their coach. And so he looks over at Jameis Winston, and there's Jameis on the sidelines, hyping his boys up, pounding their chest, pounding his chest, throwing up a W, and he's like, we can still eat this W. And then that's when Harbaugh goes up to him and he's like, I have a way for us to get this W. Are you with me, Jameis? And Jameis is like, I'll follow you into war, coach. Anywhere you want to go, I will go there with you, coach. And he's like, all right, we're going to go beat the shit out of Nick Sirianni. And Jameis hits the record player. What? He's like, you heard me. We have no choice. He's like, this is an important game. We're 5 games back in the division, and this can help us get going. That's when Jameis says, but coach, there's only 4 games left in the season. It's like, don't worry about that, Jameis. We can still do this. It's like Jameis is like, I don't think that's how math works, coach. And then he just pounds him in the chest and like, are you with me? Are you not with me? Let's get this W, Jameis. And Harbaugh's old ass goes into the tunnel and looks for Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is talking shit to the fans, going down into the tunnel, saying, oh, how you like me now, huh? You like that shit? You like that? And he's starting to sound a lot like an old QB that was in the division, if you know who I'm talking about. And then he looks at Andy, he's like, Andy, I hope you're ready to get the ball. Hand it off 30 times to finish this game. And the Red Rifle just playing cool, calm, collecting. He's like, you got it, coach. You know me. I'm just cool hand Luke out here. And he's ready, and he's strutting, getting ready, focused for the next half. And then that's when Jameis just shoves him up against the wall, and Andy Dalton's head hits the wall hard, knocking him out cold. Sucker punched him. And then there's Jameis standing over an unconscious Andy Dalton doing one of these. Mwah, mwah, mwah. That's a W. And then he's doing the John Cena can't see me with the W, because he can't see a W because he's on the Giants and they can't really string up a lot of wins. And then John Harbaugh, he's jogging over to Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni's like, what the fuck? And then he makes eye contact with John Harbaugh, and the Italian in him just erupts. He's like, hey, what's the big deal? And just as Nick Sirianni is going to punch the shit out of John Harbaugh, Jameis Winston trips him, and just as he's about to fall down face first onto the concrete floor, Big Dom there to save him, pick him up, and carry him princess style. He's like, nope, can't have you getting in trouble. And then just whisks him away like a little princess into the locker room. And then there's Andy Dalton. And John Harbaugh's like, Jameis, why'd you let him get away? He's like, that's Big Dom. I'm not gonna get, you see how big he is? I don't want that. I don't want those problems. And there's Andy Dalton still kind of lifeless on the ground. He's kind of bleeding from the ear. And so then what John proceeds to do is just start kicking the shit out of an unconscious Andy Dalton, throws his hands up in the air and says, well, fuck. And with that, because Nick Sirianni was whisked away in the big, strong arms of Big Dom, the security guy for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants somehow got a dub in the head coach fight club as they advanced to the next round. Nick Sirianni, yet again, just another punching bag in the fight club.
Yeah, man, it's not a head coaching contest by any means.
No, not necessarily. At least not in the first rounds. Who knows? Maybe strategy will take a more important turn or more important place rather in the tournament as we go along.
I think that's the case when you have two more evenly matched fighting opponents, but unfortunately, I think with Sirianni just not being a fighter, there's only so much strategy you can do before you just get beat the shit out of.
It's true. And you know, in this case, he did avoid getting his ass kicked, like he himself.
Yeah, hiding behind Dom is an option.
It is an option, and it's something that, you know, maybe the audience didn't expect. Maybe. All right. But that's not the only fight that we have for the day, because we're going to do here on out.
I was going to
two
say, it's
fights
up
in
to
the first
you.
round.
Do you want to do the other fight now? Do you want to come back to it? I don't think
No.
Becky's going to be back today, so.
I don't know if Becky will be back
No,
today.
he's not going to be back today. I talked to him a bit.
Oh, did he text you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The network couldn't handle us.
Man, what can you do? Hey, I'm glad we got him on for even like a few minutes. So there's that. All right. Well, then.
Okay, it just means we might have another cliffhanger for next week.
It might. All right. With that said, though, Patrick, since you led off the first one, why don't you lead off this next one as well? Dave Canales
I
and
can
Kenny
do that.
Pickett.
I can do that. 1 second. I'm so sorry. Back to. Yeah, this gets a little more difficult because I don't know these guys as well, right? Like, this isn't the same as, like, I know the NFC East guys pretty well. I know the NFC North guys pretty well. I would even venture to say I know the West pretty well. The South, I don't know much about what the hell is going on in the SEC version of the NFL, location-wise, not necessarily, like, success-wise. But that said, I think we know how this one. Man, this is a tough one.
Dude, I feel like this is the most evenly.
Yeah,
this is the most even fight of the three that we've had so far.
Looking back at my names here, and I'm like, gosh, I don't know. This is like the least personality possible fight. This is like in Futurama when they have an election, and it's like Jack Johnson and John Jackson, and it's just two generic white guys running against each other.
Understandable, yeah.
This is tough, but so I think this is gonna be like, you know, in you would see this a lot in older cartoons, and I'm sure they've done it in more modern stuff, where like I'm especially thinking of Bugs Bunny, where someone like looks in what they think is a mirror, and it's just like Bugs Bunny in front of them, just mirroring everything that they do. That's how I imagine most of this fight goes. Is it's like, oh, a right punch meets another right punch in the middle, just fist to fist. The kicks hit each other. A lot of nothing happening until eventually Kellen Moore remembers he was once tutelage under Jerry Jones, and he's like, I think I can figure out something sneaky here. That's if there's anything I learned, it's how to get away with some shit. And so Kellen goes a little bit dirty. He has Zach equipped with a blade in his little the thing the QBs stick their hand in to like warm their hands, I guess. He pulls out just a 3-inch blade. Pretty quick work of Kenny Pickett. Never saw it coming, especially because Zach Wilson's like a Mormon kid, right? Or at least he played at BYU.
He 100% is.
So they weren't expecting that. So Pickett's just down on the ground bleeding. And then Dave Canales is like, you know what? I got to go write another book about cheating on my wife. So I forfeit. And then that's pretty much how they win, is one stab and one guy giving up so he can go write another grifter book.
Well, it's very interesting that's where your mind took you, because my mind took me to a similar place. But why don't we go into a little bit more detail, shall we? So it's Panthers, it's Saints. Again, we're going into the tunnel at halftime. Saints are up 3-2 in one of the worst games you've ever seen in your life. Very typical NFC South material here. Kellen Moore talking to his QBs, saying, hey, listen, guys, we're going to need a change at halftime. And he's looking and he's like, man, I don't really like my options here. Okay. Spencer, you're going to go ahead and go. And then Zach Wilson says, hey, coach, what about me? What about, I've worked so hard for this opportunity. And again, they're talking into the, in the tunnel here. And in which case, Kellen is just like, yeah, man, I really miss having Dak or Jalen Hurts on my team. Even Justin Herbert would do, and that guy can't win for shit. Whatever. And as he's spacing away, Dave Canales goes up to Kellen Moore and is like, hey, coach, I don't like how dirty your players are out there. And Kellen Moore just looks at Dave Canales like, well, I don't like how dirty you are in your personal life, buddy. So how about you mind your fucking business? Dave Canales just snaps, goes like, ah! So open hand slaps Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore looks back and open hand slaps him back. And it's just one big slap fight. But these aren't slaps that make a lot of noise. If anything, it just sounds like like that. It just looks like that to the average person. But in their minds, inside the minds, they think it's this epic fight where each man is taking the punch and then giving it right back. But really, it's just a with some very lazy wrist action. Now, Dave Canales is in much better shape, personally, than Kellen Moore. So he has a little bit more stamina to slap a little bit more. No pun intended there. Now, Zach Wilson, thinking this is a chance to really impress his coach, decides he's going to throw up a Hail Mary. He doesn't believe in Mary, though. It's a Mormon thing, I think. And anyway, he goes for a punch, only to be intercepted. Oh, wow. He is very used to that. And then, who is this? Who is this to save the day? It's Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, who intercepts the punch on complete accident because he tripped and fell right into the punch. Kenny Pickett's like, oh, whoa, dude, what the fuck? And he just sees Zach Wilson, who's doing one of these, like, son of a bitch. Well, he didn't say son of a bitch. He doesn't swear. It's like, son of a caffeine. Oh, I can't have that. Dang. Whew. And then Kenny Pickett's like, oh, fucking Mormon dudes, I swear. And then he goes to punch him right back, and they start tussling back and forth. And Dave Canales and Kellen Moore, we switch back to them. Slapping, still going. That's when Dave Canales reaches in to his back pocket, where he has a copy of his not so best-selling book about cheating on his wife, and smacks the shit out of Kellen Moore with it. Kellen Moore does one of these, and he's like, all right, I got something for you too. Grabs his big, thick-ass playbook, hits it Dave Canales right in the throat with it. Oh my God, he is choking for air. He is struggling to breathe here. And Kellen Moore, trying to catch his breath, peeks over, and what does he see? He sees Zach Wilson getting beat up by Kenny Pickett, who, surprisingly, despite not being able to play quarterback, can actually throw a punch or two, having grown up in the Pittsburgh area himself. All right? And so he is just giving that guy a couple of knuckle sandwiches. Kellen Moore sneaks up, and much like the dirty organization that he came from, the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones, takes a cheap shot, gets him in the back of the head, knocking him unconscious, and there he is, right on top, right? Like just boom. Pelvis almost meets the face of Zach Wilson, who's also unconscious. He does not like to be caught in this situation, but it is what it is. And just when you think Kellen Moore stands victorious, who is this coming from the shadows, Patrick? with a little blade. Stabbed in the back of the kidneys. He starts to bleed out. This hooded figure, who's been watching this whole time, helps Dave Canellis up, raises his hands in victory. She takes the hood off, and it's his mistress. The one that the book is about. That's right. The woman that he was cheating on his wife with has come back to help him in this time of need. The winners of this round go to Dave Canellis and Kenny Pickett. Looks like we're going to need a tiebreaker from good old Jacob Bethke.
Just do a really unnatural fade on that. Yeah, man. Cool. I like leaving the cliffhanger. Not a bad idea. I did learn the main difference for the Mormons in terms of what they believe with Jesus and Mary is they don't believe Mary gave a virgin birth. But they still believe that Jesus is God and all that. Anyways, that's something I've learned today.
They believe a lot more than just that. Let me tell you that.
Well, yeah, I was trying to keep it specific to that because didn't seem like soaking was the right thing to talk about here. I was thinking about how to put that into the fight and just decided to not do that.
Well, depending on Bethy's decision, you
might get more opportunities. Yeah. Yeah. So that'll move ahead of what we were going to start with. So we finished this week's versions of the Fight Club. Not much going on outside of a couple of things sports wise. Obviously, baseball's still rolling. We're crashing hard into the All-Star break. Texas Rangers closer Jacob Latz was named a member of the American League All-Star game. Very well deserved. Probably Ezekiel Duran should have been in, but I don't expect that to happen, especially not with the mid-season the team's having. That said, the month of June was pretty damn good. July's looking all right, too. Who knows? Maybe they actually start heating up with some of these younger kids with energy actually providing something, including my boy Osuna, who had a wild one yesterday. He's so fun to watch play. Yeah, that's kind of where they're at. Still some injuries here and there. It's going to happen all year long. There's a trade deadline probably in August, if I had to remember. We're going to be so tight in the race that we're likely not going to be sellers, but I don't know how big of buyers we're going to be. We'll just have to see. Obviously, the need would be maybe another bat or two. The pitching seems to be holding stuff down pretty well. The bullpen is mostly fine. There's a couple guys, once or twice a week who will give up a few runs quick on you, but it's nothing you can't get past when you start fine-tuning some things. In other baseball news, the Marlins were playing the Athletics, and young pitcher, I feel bad, I already forgot his name, Yuri Sanchez, maybe? So he went 7 innings, only threw 92 pitches, maybe 94, and had a perfect game going. And then they pulled him from the game, and the handful, and I mean literal handful of people in the stands in Sacramento started yelling shame at the Marlins for pulling him because they don't care about their team enough. They want, and any baseball fan really, when you get that far in their game, you want to see a perfect game. There's only been 27 recorded, 28 if you count the one with the blown call at the very end of the game in the 150 years or whatever of baseball history. So it's when you get to that level where you're at the 8th inning, there's 6 outs left. Every fan in that stadium wants to see that, and every player wants to be part of it, and so on and so forth. And it's really annoying when they said, well, we had him capped at 90 pitches before the game started, so we had to pull him. It's like, no, you didn't. He wasn't showing, it's one thing if he gets to that number and you're like, all right, he's tailing off. That's why we set the number here. It's another thing if he's getting stronger as the game goes on and you just pull him for arbitrary reasons. And analytics, we can go into a whole thing. It's a big talking point for the NBA offseason. There's obviously got to be a balance between using the numbers and what you're actually seeing in front of you in real time. There's arguments to be made that using both together is probably the right way to go.
100%.
But we'll move off of baseball. Hockey offseason, basketball offseason, just random signings, random trades. I saw today Mark Cuban filed some kind of suit in court. Against the Mavericks. I didn't really read the full thing. The summary online seemed to be that he's mad that they didn't agree to what they shook hands on. But then I think the obvious counterpoint is, then why did you sign the contract afterwards if it didn't include those things? Well, we'll see what comes of that. And one other NBA story. Kawhi Leonard dropped his representation of Uncle Dennis and the generic guy who they brought in when Uncle Dennis got in trouble for not being an agent. So now he has like real representation for his Raptors deal, but I'm sure Uncle Dennis is still getting a cut of some of that. And hopefully you can't hear these dogs too much behind me, but I can hear them pretty loud.
I can't hear them, but
they're just playing. But
yeah, my mic always seems to catch my dogs, even though I have the door closed and everything.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for NBA. Obviously, there's the talking heads are all talking about LeBron. I don't think that's much of an actual story. I think he knows where he's signing, and he's just going to do that at some point. Very likely Cleveland. I can't imagine it being anywhere else, really.
Yeah, I mean, any talks of this being like an actual open free agency is such bullshit. Like LeBron, you already had in your head at a minimum or a maximum of like 4 teams that you would actually genuinely go to. All right, and 2 of those is probably like, yeah, they were really gonna have to wow me. They're gonna have to do something crazy before I get there to get me to get there, to go there.
I did think it was funny though today. So the Lakers officially renounced his free agent rights, along with free agent rights for, get this list of players that they've been holding on to the rights of, and kind of hitting their cap, I guess. Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Dion Waiters, Luke Kennard, Marcus Smart, Maxi Kleber, Nick Smith Jr., Jared Dudley, Avery Bradley, Jackson Hayes, Markieff Morris, and Wayne Ellington.
What year?
Somehow they were holding on to all of those rights at once. I didn't even know that was a thing. But
I didn't. Yeah, I never heard about like renouncing someone's free agency rights before. Like, what does that even mean? You renounce the right to sign them?
I guess they had first rights on all those players apparently. Although I thought Marcus Smart was still in the league, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I was shocked to hear like Dion Waiters. I'm like, who has him?
Carmelo was the funniest one to me because I don't remember him even being on the Lakers. But
he was there very briefly. It was not great.
Yeah, unfortunately for Melo, I think as time passes, he's going to get forgotten more and more for all the reasons that he never did anything in his career.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was a great scorer, and that's about it. He was a funny rebounder, a very funny one. If you ever, if he was ever caught on a hot mic.
What? I don't know. I don't have any context for that.
Oh, so a lot of the time he'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Anytime he would snap the rebound, and the mic would catch it quite frequently, actually.
Hilarious.
So, a nice little vocal, I guess, stem of his whenever he would go for a rebound. No.
Well, in any case, that'll get us through basketball for the week. I guess the last thing for us to touch on here is going to be the week that was in the World Cup. Actually,
before we get there, I did want to mention one thing for football. It's one little bit of news. Not great news, not bad news.
Right.
Yeah. But this is important local news. We are located in DFW, so this is some Cowboys talk. But the late Cowboys player Marshawn Kneeland, they did the biopsy, or was it the autopsy? And then they studied his brain.
I'm sure there's a biopsy in there somewhere as well.
Yeah, and then they did find that he did have CTE. So, for those who do not remember, Kneeland tragically took his own life November of 2025. Real young guy, real sad story. And I think with any situation that involves a football player choosing to end their life, it's hard not to look at the sport and look at the the number one thing that people's minds go to is, was it CTE? Is it CTE? Whenever a player starts to behave erratically or do something very extreme, whether it's take their life or the life of someone else.
I mean, the Antonio Brown situation. We had a miniaturized version of that this offseason with Brandon Ayuk, where you're kind of wondering what's going on here.
Yeah, because this is not something that we've known about beforehand, and it's just it's the only, I guess it's the only natural, logical conclusion to make before anything is actually studied, by a medical facility.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that we're still at a place where they can only detect, do that kind of check after you're dead. Similar to like if you think an animal has rabies, you pretty much have to like kill it to find out. Unless the obvious signs are there. But either way, you're probably putting it down, sending it to the lab. I think they do that in Austin for Texas. And they chop their heads off and check their brains. I'd like us to get to a point where we could figure out CTE a little bit earlier, although I don't know that we really have much we can do for it besides maybe like give you some shrooms and sit you in a calm room a couple times a week. But
yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, this is still relatively new in the medical world, I guess.
Yeah,
it's been known about for a couple decades, but even then, it's like just because you know something exists, that doesn't mean that you have enough. There's enough funding into the research for it, and even if there is research for it, how much is actually being dedicated to it? And then, of course, with the NFL being who they are and having a very, it's against their self-interest to allow these studies to be done.
It's very similar to a lot of we're just now starting to finally do tests on, I mentioned mushrooms, stuff like mushrooms, marijuana, MDMA, LSD. We're finally in the last few years starting to get studies of how those things can be used to treat, brain abnormalities, trauma, that kind of thing. It took at least the NFL finally acknowledging CTE for us to even be able to start talking about it, which means the research is only just now starting. So they're behind the 8 ball, but at least now that we finally have them half-heartedly acknowledging some of it, we can at least, that can open some doors to getting to learn a lot more, hopefully quickly.
Hopefully, the big problem that we're going to face there, though, they have an investment, or I guess ESPN has an investment. The league and ESPN are in bed together, right? I forgot if ESPN bought NFL Network. I think that's what they did. And yeah, you're going to have a lot of some less than savory news about the NFL that would normally be brought to the forefront, be kind of just swept under the rug more so than before because of this partnership.
It's not just the NFL either. We've seen this with a few wrestlers. We've seen this with some hockey players. These heavy contact sports can lead to stuff like this. And I'm sure it's exacerbated by personal decisions made after, but that's kind of like, do you blame someone when their brain's messed up for doing things that further mess up their brain? It's kind of tough to.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, but as always, there's no easy way to transition from these types of stories and news.
Well, at least we're not going into a happy story.
No, definitely not. And I mean, it depends on who you root for in the World Cup. So instead of talking about football, let's talk about football. Oh, some music. Set the mood.
This felt like something, the closest thing I could get to what people who watch the World Cup would all enjoy at the same time. Because I can't play Mr. Brightside underneath this, so.
Oh, well, I mean, are we incorporating the entire world or just the U.S. audience?
No, the entire world.
Then you had to play something Shakira.
I think they were playing Mr. Brightside in the middle of Mexico, England. That's the only song I recognized. So from Azteca.
That's weird. Okay.
Apparently, it's really big down there too. I didn't realize. I knew it was big here. I know it's big in the UK at least. Didn't realize it was big in Mexico, but apparently it is.
Well, I'm glad you didn't play Wonderwall at least. That would have just put more salt into the wound.
No, if I was gonna go British, I would have gone like either Radiohead or Beatles. So it would have taken you a while to even know it was happening.
Oh yeah, I would be less offended by that. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about some World Cup. So as you can tell, I am rocking the Mexico jersey. Listen, y'all, if you're rooting for Mexico or you have friends that root for Mexico, and you've seen or heard stories about trying to get a jersey, these were impossible to find. Like if you went on the Adidas website, the only thing that was available was like a double XL.
Oh, is that this year's kit?
Yeah, this year's
nice.
kit. Okay, I was very late to the game. Every retailer that I would normally check to see that if they had it, sold out in the short sleeve green. Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, you are in kind of a hot spot. So
yes, and so my local stores, I went, checked, nothing. All right. I couldn't even find bootlegs. Okay. Do you know how crazy that is that you can't even find like bootlegs? So
were you checking with China?
It was not going to come in time if I checked with them.
Fair enough.
You know? So somehow though, I managed to find this bad boy at a local shop. It's called Not Just Soccer. All right. Normally, no free ads. Or ads because, well, I don't
all of our ads have been free, actually.
I guess, yeah. We don't really be like, hey, yo, you should go check this place out because those places don't know that we exist. But
I don't know if you've heard of it. There's this drink called Coca-Cola. It's very tasty.
Oh yeah. Hey, Coke, do you want to sponsor us? Anyway, so Not Just Soccer up on Preston Road if you're in Dallas, going towards Park Cities. Listen, I just clicked the third result on my Google search. Saw it. I was like, fuck it. They have a phone number. Let me call them. Hey man, I know these jerseys are normally sold out, but do you have it? And the guy on my line is like, well, I just got a few in the other day, and I have about 3 Mexico jerseys left in your size. And I told him my size would be large for Adidas. I was like, oh shit. All right. I'm going to be right there. When I got to the place, Patrick, there was one left. It was this bad boy right here. I got the last one in their large size. Ooh. And I was like, this has got to be beautiful. This has got to be a good omen of things to come for Mexico. Nah, man. That shit was not a good omen. Not at all. Okay. So let's get to the actual game. Mexico lost 3-2 in what a lot of people who are, regular viewers of soccer, football, right? You have a lot of analysts, a lot of pros, a lot of people saying this was a classic football game because it had all the drama. It had.
Legitimately, I thought the first half was the best half I've seen so far in the Cup from any of the games.
I mean, it was a good, it was a good, half. If you were, rooting for England or if you're a neutral fan,
mean,
you're Mexico.
Yeah.
Like,
I would have preferred I would have preferred the score had been flipped, but it was still just in terms of like gameplay. I thought it was the best half I saw between two pretty evenly matched teams.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. I think a lot of Mexican soccer fans who are a little bit more on the pessimistic side can take with them is like you were evenly matched with England, a team that is very a lot of talent on England. Apparently, their starting 11, their combined salaries were like 2.5 billion euros or something like that. So, listen, that is a testament to what the professional leagues deem these players to be worth. Whether they are or aren't, that's besides the point. But these are all players that play at the highest level, and a lot of the Mexican players, a lot of them only play in the Mexican league, which is not considered one of the highest levels of play. It's still a respectable league, just not the top of the top.
Is it considered like second tier? Whereas MLS is, I believe, third or fourth tier.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because a lot of great talent has come out of Liga Mexico. So it's not one of those top Premier leagues, but it's a league that a lot of players, when they're leaving Europe, a lot will go to Liga Mexico because they still get to play with some discernible, some notable talent. Unless they want to collect an easy payday, then they go to MLS, and whatnot. But besides the point. So anyway, Mexico loses to England 3-2. There were some very frustrating aspects of that game. The number one thing that Mexico had going for it was its staunch defense throughout the knockout stage and in their game against Ecuador. All right, they had a clean sheet in 4 games, hadn't allowed a single goal. They're the only country to not allow a single goal in their first 4 games. They let up 2 within 4 minutes of each other because that defense just decided it was going to do what Mexico does. There's something, Patrick, that's been said online. It's they've played like never before and lost like always, and that was kind of very true because you look at it, there was multiple opportunities for Mexico to not just tie the game or take the lead, right, but really establish themselves as the better team. Raul Jimenez missed, I believe, 4 or 5 shots on goal. There was this one beautiful sequence where there was a crosser coming in to the box, and he heads it, and he just misses that. And that was the story of his game. He pretty much missed any shot that wasn't his penalty kick. It was very frustrating. And the hero, the legend for Mexico, Julian Quillones, the Colombian-born naturalized Mexican citizen who has been the star for Mexico really this entire World Cup. He was the one who scored the only real goal. I don't really PKs just don't feel like real goals to me. It's like a free shot.
That was a serious highlight goal. The
rebound,
middle of the body header.
No, that was Raul. No, that was Bellingham. That was on England.
No,
if you look at Quinones' goal was a rebound, where he just lined that shot up beautifully and got that shit into the back of the net. I believe that you're thinking of the header done by Bellingham, I think is his name, or from England, who was running away with the ball.
You're right.
So yeah, that was an impressive goal. If you're, again, a neutral fan, an English fan, but if you're a Mexican fan, you're like, what the fuck are we doing? Who marked him? Someone was supposed to be on him, and he just ran right past the defense. But yeah, Quinones,
that corner, someone's got to get that back post,
Yeah, Quinones was just immaculate as he's been all tournament for Mexico. Head-scratchingly, the manager for the Mexican team subbed him out. Your best scorer in the tournament, you sub him out when you need goals, and not just that, your best overall creative midfielder, Gilberto Mora, the young 17-year-old prodigy, also subbed out. So, for those watching the game, if you were like me, you were frustrated by Gallardo and Piojo doing the same thing on each side, which was
my
dribble
FIFA,
up,
my only FIFA strategy.
Yeah, you dribble up the side, you dribble back up to where you were, and then you cross the ball into the box to absolutely nobody and pray to God that something happens, and nothing ever did.
It's not a bad strategy if you're around the same height as the defenders, but the problem is all the English defenders are about a foot taller than all the Mexican players, so it's really hard to get a header in there.
And even then, there are players who are on the shorter side who are still aerial specialists because they just have that leap and they can go up there and play with the big boys.
It's just a lot more difficult when that's the only thing you're trying.
And the problem is, it's really difficult when you only have one guy who specializes in that, and that's Raul Jimenez. So England can just play haram ball, all right, and just have 3 guys on the guy in the box, and the ball just goes nowhere. And it was the same thing. It's not a bad strategy when you employ it once every couple of possessions. But when it
really felt like the last 30 minutes was just rinse and repeat of the same exact thing happening over and over.
It was insanity. and I couldn't believe what I was watching. And yet, to hear the perspective of English fans, which I went and did, they were so nervous that Mexico would not only catch up, but win the game still.
Because their defense is the most suspect part of their lineup or roster, whatever term they use.
And they were down a man. They were down a man, and it was very.
That's true.
They were down a man for 30 minutes, and they had, Mexico had so much extra time, and so it just made it more of a frustrating loss. It became less sad and more frustrating as the time winded down, because you're like, we could win this game. We've had ample opportunities, especially in the first half, to take the lead or tie the game up at least and send this into penalties. But alas, as the saying went, Mexico played like they've never played before, but they lost like they always do. But Mexico and Mexican fans should, hold their heads up high, because it was a magical run. It was a beautiful run where we got to see something and feel something that we've never got to do in this at least in my generation, right? And that's believe that this team could actually really go somewhere and had a real chance to make a super deep run into the tournament, and to see legends of the game also have that sentiment that Mexico has that ability. And that's just something that's really, it's just, the silver lining, right? You don't want a participation trophy, but you do appreciate the acknowledgement of what your team did and what they could have done if things just broke a little differently in what was an evenly matched game. And who's to say if they play that game again that Mexico doesn't win, right?
Yeah, who knows? And like I said, that first half was really fun to watch. It was really quality play. The second half got a little mucky, especially at the start of the second half. A lot of fouls and cards and stuff, which was unfortunate. But I do want to correct one thing I said. So apparently in the global rankings, MLS has passed Liga Mexicana. MLS is now ranked 10th in the world leagues, where Liga MX is 15.
That's crazy to me. All right.
Wait. Sorry, y'all are 19.
In 19th?
Yeah, but it's really tight between like 7 and 20.
All right. Well, whatever. But yeah, either way, Mexico's future though is pretty bright.
I mean, if they keep expanding the tournament, you'll keep going further. So
maybe that's you never know. Because some of these teams came out of nowhere to prove that they belong on the biggest stage with the big boys. I'm looking at you, Cabo Verde, Cape Verde. Had probably the most exciting final minutes of any game this World Cup season, where they were pushing Argentina to their limit. All right, it took some late game heroics and some very questionable refereeing, as all the Argentina games have been seemingly. Argentina fans, eat a dick, because your team is getting a ton of breaks from the refs, and that cannot be understated at all. Can't be overstated either, because it is properly stated. So, Cape Verde, a team where I think they had like maybe one guy playing in the second division of Portugal. They had one dude that they reached out to on their team through LinkedIn. They had to go in touch with him through LinkedIn to get him to play for the national team that he didn't believe was real, right? But the story of that game, the late game heroics, that was magic. That was magic, and they made me believe that they could do it. All right, they made me believe that they could actually win that game. And then, of course, just magical devil powers that Argentina and FIFA have combined together to get them as far as they are now. Let them to win. And then, of course, they beat Egypt in a very controversial game where Egypt was up 2-0. They had one goal disallowed, where it could have been a game where Egypt was up 3-0, right? And there was just a litany of calls that just went against Egypt that You know, they probably shouldn't have. And it
Nah.
wasn't just, it was one or two. I believe I saw something where 23 calls went against Egypt that shouldn't have, which is not a rounding error. That feels quite deliberate. But hey,
I don't
you
know.
know,
I watch it. I felt most of that talk was overblown because people just love to get on the hate train.
No, this one's very valid.
I watched it. You don't give up. You don't give up 3 goals. You don't give up 3 goals in 15 minutes and then blame the refs. That's not how this works.
It really is though. You need to be a little bit more tapped into what's happening out here in these FIFA streets.
You gotta be able to hold a lead, and if you can't hold a lead, that has nothing to do with the refs. They weren't scoring on penalties. They missed the 2 penalties they had.
Yes, but Patrick, Egypt wasn't getting any penalties called for themselves, and there was definitely at least 2 times where they should have had a penalty called in their favor, and they didn't. And then you think about it from that point, that's a scoring opportunity that Egypt did not get. Now, yes, they did blow it. They did blow the lead. However, it doesn't help when the refs are clearly biased towards one team. They're
not biased towards one team.
They definitely are. You're not familiar with FIFA corruption.
You gotta take off. I'm familiar with FIFA corruption. Oh my god! You gotta take off the hater glasses. I didn't just start watching soccer.
This is Argentina, damn it! Of course, there's hater glasses. There's no reason to like them, not just as a team, but as a country. Okay, so I need you to be here with me here. Understand, there was definitely still a bias. There's like the golden boy needs to make it far. You can clearly tell by a lot of what is happening. Now,
you've come to that conclusion. Now you're trying to background of figuring out how that works, of how they got.
I'm not doing that. No, I'm not backgrounding anything. I just don't want to spend the next hour trying to explain how it all fits together. But
please
here
explain
is what's going
it to me.
Yeah, maybe later. Listen, I am there with you though. Egypt did do some boneheaded things that blew their lead. And so when you are having moments where you're playing sloppy against a talented team, I will give Argentina that. They are talented. Right? You don't want to let the rest of the game being out of your control. Meaning, yes,
maybe not like shifting your FIFA slider to extra attack.
Well, in this case, they lost all their attack. So one thing that happened, and this was a game changer for Argentina. All right, and this is where I'm going to give them their due. They made 2 very key substitutions that created less of a balanced approach where they're balanced on the amount of offensive talent they have versus defensive talent, where they went heavy offense, and you saw a shift in their approach that really got to Egypt. Now, that's where that's going to stop. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not giving them any more credit than that. Now, let me go to Egypt's side. Their substitutions did not help them in maintaining the lead. If anything, I think they went to a more conservative approach, and there was less offensive talent. I think one of their goal scorers, I think he got hurt and he had to get subbed out. I'm not entirely positive, but because I didn't have the
they were confusingly didn't have as many guys back. Like they had more guys trying to press an attack, and probably because they aren't as good at it is why it wasn't working. But they weren't.
Well, no, they had some moments.
They didn't even attempt to park the bus. They didn't even try it.
Well, I think that's the thing. I don't think with Argentina you can really truly park the bus.
No, you can muck up the inside a little bit more.
See that, but that's the problem though. Is like you can try to muck it up, but you're not going to get any breaks from the refs. It is very clear that they have some sort of a bias. Now, whether that leads to goals or not,
that's not an objective fact, but okay.
It is a fact, but you don't want to believe that? That's fine. Listen, if you're going to muck things up against Argentina, you have to be on the same level. We're talking about your Frances, your Spains. You have the same your Englands. You have to have that same notoriety to get that kind of a break. Very much like the superstar call, the Jordan rules, things like that. That applies in all sports. And so, who has the most well-renowned player in the game right now? Probably Argentina. Next is France with Kylian Mbappe. So we're going to see what that will look like in the next round, because I believe Argentina plays Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, GG, thanks for stopping by, Switzerland. You're not making that. You're not winning that one.
They struggled with Colombia pretty bad.
Yeah, no, that was a disgusting game. It's terrible. Also, yeah, no, you know what? Never mind. But anyway, back to this game. Egypt, they blew it, and they didn't do themselves any favors in that game. Also, there was one really interesting thing that I want to see if it gets investigated at all. All right, so I don't know if you're familiar with this. I just learned about this, Patrick. So I still need to learn a little bit more. But something in FIFA is when someone throws up the X.
Oh,
Throws
yeah,
up
the,
the
coach, the racism thing, and the coach was using it to discuss things that weren't that.
Yeah, so I didn't know about that. Again, I did not have an English broadcast on because I was at work. And
Yeah,
the only thing that I
I remember when they invented the X hand sign not too long ago.
Yeah, so what I found funny about the X when I learned about it was he throws up the X and he gets a yellow card for it. And I was like, that is so fucking funny, and it does no favors to what is universally kind of like the sentiment that
I think the only reason he got
Yeah.
that card was because he did it multiple times for not the right purpose. Like if he had just done it once, they probably would have let it go away. But by the third time, it's like you can't keep cussing the ref out. Like you're not going to get away with doing that.
understandable, but I can also see why he was frustrated with the officiating. Now, also, I want to say this. I 100% when you see some of the things that have been coming out of Argentinian fans' mouths, right? You're like, and that should probably be thrown every game for them, because I think it does apply to players, coaches, and fans.
I think that's the same for every single country.
There's the rub right there.
And honestly,
say that for almost
we
every
might be one of the cleaner ones, sadly.
Yeah. Our the racism shown by Americans it's different.
Yeah, and it's not
'cause you don't-
not necessarily the soccer fans who are going to be the ones doing that.
Yeah, see, it's mostly like Boston Red Sox fans, Boston Celtic fans, New England Patriot fans.
I think you can lump Philly in there. I think you can lump Dallas
No,
in there.
I don't.
I think you can.
I'm not gonna lump Philly in there.
You should.
I probably won't.
What did Bill Burr say? What did Bill Burr say? Joe Frazier's from here, but he's black, so you can't stand him. So you got a statue of a fake Italian man.
Okay, yes, that was incredibly funny. So there's that, and then let's see, who else is.
But yeah, I think
who
for
has
the
that
most part,
reputation?
the people who actually watch soccer here are probably the more what we would call PC or not the
They're a
type.
lot tamer. Yeah, even
They're
if
just
they are.
they're different. They're not.
Yeah,
They're not racist because they just want they want
they're
soccer
not
to
openly
be.
racist. They're not
They
telling.
want soccer to get so good that they're like keeping their mouths shut about some things.
Yeah, they're not people from let's say a certain Spanish speaking country that's selling ISO speed to go back to his country when he was born in the US.
Look, man, nothing. I think the worst thing we've seen is the who was it? It was like a senator from where that was talking about Mbappe.
Oh, yeah, that was wild, man.
Paraguay, one of the Paraguayan senators.
Oh, Paraguay. Yes. Dude,
some shit, some shit that I would think that I would hear in like the 40s about black baseball players.
Yes. No, that is wild. So that the fact that they're a public official is wild. Now, I'm sure there's some shit that's been said by every fan base that you're just like, what the fuck? But we all know. All of us Latinos know who's the worst. We know. Anyway, that's besides the point.
Why don't you repeat the chant you guys aren't supposed to say?
Which one?
Which one?
There's so many.
Are there
chants.
more than one you're not allowed to say?
I think so, but
Or not
the one,
supposed to?
well, there's one thing that the Mexican fans got in trouble for saying, but it's not a chant; it's just a word. that they
was that
say whenever
for
the
the goal
goalie,
kick? Yeah.
yeah, with the goal kick. But honestly, like that's just a misinterpretation of Spanish. No, it's not. Because
Again,
okay, so that
this
word
is
that
one
they
of the-
use, just to give people a linguistics lesson, right? There's a masculine version and a feminine version of the word. An O or an A. If you use an A, right, it's calling somebody a bitch, and it's mostly like directed towards women. But if it's an O, right, in theory, it's still supposed to mean bitch. It's just directed towards a man. But
It's
instead,
masculine,
but instead, it's actually used as the
Well-
English equivalent of the F slur for
the
when you
British
direct it to
cigarette.
a-
Yeah.
or a British cigarette, if you will. So, mind you, and you heard that a lot in that
It's
English.
always
England Mexico
funny
game.
when the World Cup comes around because the super woke PC crowd gets to learn that the rest of the world does not follow the rules that they're trying to implement here.
No, that's the beauty of the World Cup.
Different places.
Oh, different places, yes. But anyway, enough of the legitimate hate train of Argentina. Let's go to some other games that we had. They were, I think, just as fun or just as interesting in their own right. Right? For example,
I'd say maybe two-
the
maybe-
U.S. team against Belgium. That
There's
one was
nothing.
funny.
There's nothing interesting about that game. That was
No, it was incredibly
Terrible.
funny for the wrong reasons, Patrick. And this is what I mean. All right, we all know the big fat orange man got involved, talking with Infante of FIFA,
To be
and
fair-
everybody
To be fair,
was.
he did not get involved. Someone in his office told him about it to talk about it after it had already been figured out. He just wanted to take credit for it.
Regardless, like he threw his name, therefore he had some minor involvement. But as with always, he has to hog the spotlight. So, as with always, as well, when he hogs the spotlight in sporting-related events, the team that he associates himself with happens to lose. All right,
that did not work in the NBA Finals less than a month ago. So I don't know if we can claim that. He's not Ted Cruz.
Okay, no. He associated himself for one game and one game only, and that was the game that Spurs won. And I don't think that's coincidence, okay? Now, the bad vibes are real. So, what happens with these bad vibes?
The real story is the U.S. just isn't good enough.
No, for sure. But here's the thing, Patrick. It's that combined with the story. Because let's say that never happened, right? Let's just say there was no involvement. There was no, like, high-profile appeal of
we probably lose 5-0.
Not even. Like, Balogun didn't even touch the ball. So Balogun, let's just say he gets suspended.
If he can't touch the ball, then whoever's coming in to replace him is sure as hell not going to have any chance of doing anything.
I guess, but I mean, he's not that great. You know,
He's our second best. He's our second or third best player.
Yeah, which it's not saying much.
That's what I'm saying. Is this team sucks? Well, they're mid. They're a top 30 team in the world for sure.
Yes. But anyway, listen. What brought ice to this game was all the wrong reasons, right? And then you lay an egg where Belgium skunks you 4-1. And so that just made it was just like a little cherry on top to the
Honestly,
shitstorm. Because you know what, Team USA were existing in this little bubble where nobody really gave a shit about them. I felt like nobody was talking about them, good or bad. They just kind of existed in like the shadows, and then they got brought into the light, and then they got their ass kicked. And it was it was something else.
It happens every 4 years, so we're used to it. I thought the funniest part was the
2014. I felt like they were a more high-profile team.
Did they even get past the 16? Oh, they might have made it to the final 8. I think that was the one.
I think they got into the round of 16.
Yeah,
because that was the Tim Howard led team, and he had a pretty good cup.
But even our last win, we didn't even score our own goals. I think we won with an own goal in a 1-0 win. So look, it's a miserable experience if you're actually actively rooting for them. But my favorite part of that whole game was when it was obvious that it was over. Like there's just not near enough time, and they haven't done anything yet. You hear the announcers on, because unfortunately I had to watch this one on Fox instead of on Telemundo like I've been doing the rest of the Cup. You just hear the broadcasters just be like, please keep watching. Please keep watching the World Cup. We need you to keep watching the World Cup. They're just begging us.
Oh man, yeah, that was. Oof.
Because while
You know
the
what,
overall
these are
world
the-
numbers will stay up, the U.S. numbers of watching the games is going to significantly plummet.
Yeah, well, yeah, it tends to be that way during the once Team USA, and really even like when Mexico gets eliminated too, because they have a big U.S. viewing audience as well.
I'm sure Canada as well. All three host teams went out in the round of 16.
Yep, the World Cup is without cum.
Cam?
Cum.
No, you.
Yeah.
I did hear this, and I had never thought about this before, and I went and tried to go back and maybe refute it, but I couldn't. All the real teams, like no team with more than one name in their country name is any good. So like United States of America, not good. Bosnia and Herzegovina, not good. Cote d'Ivoire, not good. DR Congo, not good. You can't have more than one name. So you guys have that advantage. You're a one-name country, so it's possible for you to be good.
Let's see. Is there
I even
any
went back. No, I went back and I even looked at it like in their own native languages, and it still checks out.
Interesting, because Mexico is actually called the United States of Mexico in Spanish.
I think the official name is not that though.
Oh, it's the official name is a weird
I think
one.
it's literally just. That's interesting. So what was I looking at? Maybe it was just by the comment. No, because interesting. Yeah, officially the United Mexican States. All right, so that's why you guys aren't good
The
either.
United Mexican States. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you guys also are not
we're
ever gonna win.
we're average. We're slightly above average. Okay.
Yeah, man, that's the thing.
Just slightly
Like,
above average.
Germany or Deutschland, they're really good. Spain or España, they're really good. England, they're really good. France, France.
Now that doesn't apply to all one.
No,
nation.
it just means if you have more than one name, you don't have a shot, or more than one word.
Maybe. There was. I could have sworn there was somebody who had a really deep, interesting run once. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some research on this. This is a very
I just
interesting
thought that
topic to bring
was a
up
funny
this time.
note that I hadn't thought about before.
You know what is a funny note? If we want to really get people mad at us, by us I mean me, and it is this. I have seen, Patrick, some very interesting discourse online that one I already agreed with beforehand, but it's very funny to see the citizens of other nations kind of have their eyes open to it because it's affecting their personal lives through sports and not through like what's happening to their friends and family members. And that is this: the decline in Brazil as a soccer nation can be traced to the rise of evangelicals taking over the country. And that is this. Hold on. Let me finish this thought.
Maybe that's also why we suck. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, maybe. All right. It's this. The theory goes that I've seen, and I'm just summarizing this theory. People, you can get onto the Twitter and see the discourse for yourself and try to make your own conclusion to it. But it's this: the rise of evangelical faith, if you will, and its culture has stripped these Latin nations and these Latin players of their flair that they once had when they were womanizing, heavy drinking, culturally Catholic people. All right. And this makes sense because once Brazil lost those culturally Catholic stars, right? Not saying that they were practicing Catholics, mind you. They're just culturally so. The team just wasn't the same. And you can see it too with like Colombia. You can kind of see it with some other nations as well, where the idea is, Patrick, that being Catholic or raised Catholic, or your country is culturally Catholic, gives your nation, your soccer team rather, at 2 times multiplied. Right?
I don't know who this quote came from. but there's this quote here that I'm looking at that says, "If we pray like a gringo, then we play like a gringo."
It's also one of the things that I saw. So listen, it has been some very funny shit that I've been seeing, and then Jesus and I have been sharing some funny tweets back and forth about this, and I'm just like, you know what? This checks out. This checks out. Have you ever been in a room with a bunch of evangelicals and you're not one yourself? It's a miserable time. All right. And I'm like, you can't have a fun soccer style when everything is just so doom and gloom. So anyway, it's very funny little side note to add to the overall discourse of the World Cup, because that's what the World Cup does. It's the beauty of it. Is there's conversations that have never been had before that suddenly people are wake up to, and they're like, oh shit, I didn't know this about this country, or damn, I didn't know this about my countrymen. Whoa, I'm learning something new. So there is that. Patrick, let's just go over some of the games coming up for our audience. Listen, now that Mexico's gone, there's no more Latin American countries representing us, so it's tough. It's just all European teams in Morocco. So let's see. We have who? We have.
Come on, you've got the patriarch of Latin America, Spain. They started it all.
No. But listen. Once upon a time, I did root for Spain back in 2008, but that's just because I was rooting for history to be made, because they were on a historical run of dominance in the European scene. But it's a lovely country if you don't run into the not so lovely people, but that's with every country, right? But also, I just don't think the Spain team's that good. So anyway, you have France and Morocco. Yeah. Listen, if you want someone to beat the evil empire, you're going to need to root for the other empire that's not necessarily evil, but they are assholes. Okay, and that's France. So, listen, Morocco, I'm gonna need you to lay down, get out of the way, and let the dictator Kylian Mbappe wrestle the crown back away from those devils down south. Okay. Then what do you have? You have Spain and Belgium. This one, it's the Unction team, as I've seen them be called, the old Belgium squad versus Spain, who is they're just kind of there. They're good. I think they won the Euros. But they haven't been playing amazing. Then you have Norway, who has probably the most exciting young talent in Erling Haaland going against England. Now, if this was the day after, Patrick, where England beat Mexico, I am 100% asking Norway to crush England and just stomp their hearts out. But the English fans have been apparently very lovely to the people of Mexico City. They've been very complimentary of Estadio Azteca, saying that it deserves to be the grounds that host the championship, which is true. It is hollow grounds.
Come on, historic New Jersey.
Ugh. Yeah. Right. Rather it be hosted in Old Jersey. Anyway, so, and apparently England, there's a huge wave asking of fans and players asking for England to have a friendly with Mexico in Wembley in September. So there's some goodwill there. I do not have a dog in this fight anymore. Argentina, Switzerland. If you can't tell by now, the battle of these two European squads, yeah, you know who's going to win this one. So there's no need to hope for the best. Just prepare for the worst.
You should call Argentina European.
That's what they are. They're not Latino. Yeah. And so those are the games.
I think Norway, England is going to be the most fun one. France, Morocco could be a really good game. As far as actual games, I think that might be the best game. But I think the casual is definitely going to want to see Holland and definitely going to want to see the Vikings. So
Yeah,
Gold Norway.
he is the one man band for that team. They go as he goes.
He's like
dude.
He's like what we thought Giannis was like 10 years ago, just a goofy kid.
Just a goofy kid with unbelievable physical athleticism that cannot be rivaled by almost anyone.
And his like corporation or whatever he calls it for like tax purposes is called Pillage, which is hilarious.
That's incredible. I love this guy. Also, by the way, back to the theory of the Catholic multiplier, 2 times multiplier. I don't think he is Catholic, but he was seen with a rosary, so he may get a 1.5 multiplier. All right. Just saying, something to look at. All right, and I don't know where France lines in this because I know they've had some Catholic.
They're more.
They've had some cathedrals over there.
I believe they're majority atheist at this point, but they do have Notre Dame.
Well, even a lot of nations that are regarded as Catholic, they're like culturally so, and not necessarily.
No, France is like aggressively telling you they're not any of those things. They're not like they're not even like the Easter and Christmas Catholics. They're like, fuck all that, smoke cigarettes and eat baguettes.
That's true, and it is what it is. We'll see. Maybe having some
bright spot is what I'm saying.
Well, maybe that's just Paris. Because I'm seeing here that about 30% of the population identifies as so. That doesn't mean that they are, but they do identify as such. So, is what it is, I guess. So we'll see. If they get a 2 times multiplier. And yeah, that's all the World Cup talk. I think World Cup is really dominating.
Wouldn't that mean Spain is now like the favorite to win if we're going with just the Catholic shit?
No, that doesn't mean they're a favorite to win. They just get a 2 times multiplier on ability. All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's what that means. So they could be dog shit. That 2 times multiplier brings them to averageness. They're average, and now they're above average.
That means every time Germany's won, they've really been fighting the odds.
Yes. And there's a reason England's only won once.
Yeah, I think, I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but I think it's now been longer since the It's Coming Home song came out. The time between their cup win and that song coming out, between that song coming out and now, is longer than the original time. Yeah. I never believe in England, and I probably never will. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like Argentina and France, but I wouldn't be surprised if Morocco's there.
All right. Are you ready for this? I have the
or
list
Norway.
Of all the winners. Okay? These are the lists of every team that's ever won. Okay? The first
all
champions,
8 of them?
Uruguay. All right? Catholic nation. Italy. Duh. Uruguay. West Germany. Now Germany. All right? Then you had Brazil.
I'm not sure Uruguay is a Catholic nation.
No, it in the 50s, in the 30s and 50s.
Okay, yeah, maybe back then.
Yeah. Like I said, there's the rise of evangelicals. Whatever.
44.5%
then you had
of
England in
Uruguayan
66.
population is non-religion.
There you go. Yeah, but probably back then they were definitely. England in 66. Okay. And mind you, that was their only one. Brazil in 70. Germany again. Germany defying the odds, but this is West Germany. Who knows? Then you had Argentina. I believe
West Germany was definitely Protestant as hell.
Yeah. So you had Argentina in the 70s. Again, they were probably predominantly Catholic. Italy in 82. Argentina again. Germany defying the odds here. Brazil, then France. All right, France has a sizable population back in that time that were probably identified as Catholic. Again, Notre Dame, all that shit. Brazil, Italy, Spain, boom. Okay. And then you had Germany in 2014, an outlier they are. France, and then Argentina. I'm just saying the theory has some weight to it. There you go.
No, it's funny, and it makes sense. I can see a bunch of Catholic kids playing soccer together more than anyone else. So
There's that.
we didn't play
And
much soccer at my church, but that's probably because we didn't have 22 kids to play.
Sometimes you don't even need that much.
Well, no,
But-
but Catholic families, no protection. Oftentimes, a lot more children, which means you're gonna have a lot more kids around in general. You're gonna need a bigger field to carry all those kids. That all makes sense to me.
yeah, and checks out. And yeah, that's all we got. I probably can't believe how much the World Cup dominated the talk of the podcast, since we're not a soccer podcast. But sometimes
It makes sense. It's not
topical.
gonna happen again for 4 years. So,
True. You won't hear this level of
and we're not
analysis
We're not doing
anywhere.
MLS coverage. We're not doing MLS coverage. We don't care about the Euros.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not,
not
like
waking up to watch Premier League on a Saturday. I'll do
Premier
something else.
League or the Spanish League, La Liga. There's no real sickos here that want to watch Italian Serie A or
Not
Bundesliga.
this podcast. There are definitely sickos around us that do, but not many.
Oh yeah, no. I'm sure we know plenty of sickos in our personal lives that would do this, but not.
I'm way more likely to get into cricket than I am to.
I'm actually
international
more inclined to go watch like leagues that nobody wants to watch play than anything else.
Yeah, indoor soccer. That's the one I would get into if I had to get into one.
The J Super League,
Then
the
at that
Japanese
point, I
Super
might as well
League. I
just go
feel
watch
like
more hockey.
yeah, like that one would be more up my alley, just because I'm like, fuck it, what's happening over on that side of the world?
All right, man. Well, you are in charge, so it's up to you whenever we actually end this thing. Unless you had
Oh,
anything
that's right.
more fun
I was
to
waiting-
add. I think we filled the
I was
time.
waiting for you to do
pretty
the
well.
whole kip and caboodle there. All right, good luck.
I'm just
to- Oh no, you're just a what? Oh, you're just
I was just an observer.
Yeah. Good luck to all but one nation in the World Cup. And y'all stay cool out there. We'll be back with some more Fight Club next week. And deuces. We are out of here. Oh shit.
It always takes longer than you
I just busted right inside him, and he can't extend on me anymore, and he seems a little overwhelmed by my girth and tonnage.